It is October, and that means that everything is pumpkins. So today I'm going to show you guys how to turn this into pumpkin puree. So if you're new to this channel, I am all about doing everything myself in the kitchen and saving money in the process. And I have to level with you, preparing your own pureed pumpkin from scratch will not always save you money. It really depends on the kind of deals they have on these sugar pie pumpkins in your grocery store and the kind of deals that they have on canned pumpkins in your grocery store. Just now I was looking up on Walmart. They have a 15-ounce can of pumpkin puree for 88 cents. And this baby will give you about 3 to 4 cups of pumpkin puree.
Okay, Sarah from the future here, and that was a gross miscalculation. That pumpkin, in fact, gave me 6 cups of pumpkin puree, not 3 to 4 cups, 6 cups.
And it cost me $1.50 at Winco. So this particular pumpkin, yeah, it'll save you some money to get your own pumpkin, roast it yourself, puree it yourself. You also get pumpkin seeds out of it, which is a really nutritious, delicious snack. So yeah, this particular pumpkin is cheaper than canned pumpkin, but not all pumpkins are created equal, so you're not necessarily going to save money, but you probably will. What you will get, however, out of pureeing your own pumpkin is really, really tasty pumpkin. It tastes so much better than canned pumpkin. So let's show you how to do it.
So these were 3 pumpkins that I got at QFC, which is a slightly higher end grocery store and that is more expensive than Winco typically. These pumpkins are smaller than the one that I was showing you earlier, and the 3 of them together cost $5. So individually, each of them was a little more expensive than the one that I got at Winco, as well as smaller. So like I said, not all pumpkins are created equal. But let's cut these babies open. So I like a heavier knife rather than a sharp knife. It doesn't matter actually in this application if your knife is a little bit dull, you just want it to be heavy. So once I get to the stem, I actually prefer to just rip them very slowly, patiently, and gently with my hands, rip them apart. It's okay if it's not perfectly pretty when you rip it. We're not entering a pretty pumpkin cutting contest here. And the seeds here, gotta remove those seeds. But we don't want to get rid of them, we want to save them because they taste delicious. So we have our halved pumpkin. I'm going to deal with the stem. Best thing to do is hold it steady, kind of saw your knife a little bit, and then just kind of knock it off. It comes out pretty easily. Now I've got my 6 pumpkin halves, and I'm going to use my mighty hands to remove the seeds. A lot of people go for a spoon at this point, but I find if you remove the seeds with your hands instead of a spoon, you're less likely to get all those stringy bits attached to the seeds, and then when you want to go to roast the seeds later, it's so much easier to prep them for roasting. So there's your seeds removed with not much stringy bits, and all the stringy bits are left in the pumpkin halves. So they're kind of hard to get out with your bare hands, so you're going to need a tool for that, a mighty melon baller. You can, of course, use just a big spoon, but those are a little weaker. The handles tend to bend a little bit when you use them, so I find a melon baller works really well for this sort of application. And if you don't have a melon baller, don't worry, just use a spoon. As you scrape, be careful to avoid getting the actual flesh out. Really try to stick to just the stringy bits. You're gonna leave some stringy bits in the pumpkin, you're gonna scrape some flesh out, it's inevitable, but get it as clean as you can without getting too much flesh out of the pumpkin, like that. And once you have your cleaned pumpkin halves, I put them in a roasting pan. You can put them in a cookie sheet, any vessel, but a nice deeper roasting pan is good. This is leftover oil from frying donuts. I save my oil when I deep fry stuff. After it's cooled down, I put it in a container. And you could use a pastry brush to spread the oil onto your pumpkins, but I am using my hands because hands are free and they do a really good job. It's like faster than using a pastry brush. And you want to use a neutral tasting oil, so any deep fry oil you use to fry chicken or fish, stay away from that. That was donut oil, so it's more neutral. And I'm seasoning with a little bit of salt. Even if you're going to use your pumpkin puree for sweet applications like pies or cakes, which I'll show you in a future video, by the way, salt brings out the natural flavor and helps them roast nicely, so a little salt. Put it in a 350-degree oven for about 45 minutes to an hour, uncovered. And after they're roasted, check them for doneness by sticking a fork in. Your fork should go in very, very easily because we're going to want to puree this, or eat it and you don't want raw pumpkin. That's kind of gross. So I'm going to cover it with a Silpat. You can use a plastic bag, but I'm using a Silpat, which, by the way, I must add, is clean. It is stained. Those things you are seeing are stains, not filth. Please don't troll me in the comments. Anyway, after it has sat for about half an hour and steamed in its own steam, the skin is very easy to remove, as you can see. So after you remove all the skin, you can take the flesh. As you can see, it's already kind of starting to puree just by kind of scraping it. And I'm using this mini chopper food processor. If you don't have food processors, you can mash it with like a potato masher or a potato ricer if you happen to have one. Food processor really is the best tool for the job. And this is a mini chopper, as I said. If that's all you have, it works just fine. You're just gonna have to do it in several batches. And look at that beautiful smooth puree. You can pass it through a fine mesh sieve if you want it even finer. And if you are lucky enough to have a larger food processor, as I am, you can also puree it in the larger food processor, and you can do more at once. And if you're doing a lot of pumpkin puree, it's nice to have a larger food processor. You want to pulse it at first in either case and puree until smooth. And it should take a while. Be patient. You should not have to add any liquid at all, just time. And there's that beautiful, delicious, smooth pumpkin puree. Don't forget the seeds, by the way. If you look in the video description below, I have a recipe for some very simple, basic roasted pumpkin seeds. Never throw away your pumpkin seeds. Roast them. It is an amazing, virtually free snack.
So that was basic pumpkin roasting and pumpkin pureeing 101. Of course, you could, if you wanted to make it easier on yourself, you could just cut the pumpkin up into pieces, boil it, and then mash it. Or you could even microwave it in a bowl with a little water and a plate over it and mash it. That works too. I just find roasting it gives it a better flavor. And then you also have the advantage of leaving some of it non-pureed. And as you'll see in next Friday's video, I will demonstrate how to make a variety of savory pumpkin dishes with both roasted cut up pumpkin and pumpkin puree. One can do so much more with these things than just make pumpkin pie or maybe a pumpkin soup. Pumpkins are extremely versatile. They're very delicious and nutritious and actually a very good value as well. So tune in next Friday for my savory pumpkin compilation video. Thanks for watching. Since this channel is small and not monetized, you can best support it by subscribing and by liking, commenting, and sharing the videos. You can also buy food and cooking items from my Amazon store to give me a cut of the profits at no extra cost to you. Also, add me on Facebook for recipes and more. Bye, food lovers!